Hello, my name is Dr. Pauline Stewart, and I'm the Executive Officer and Founder of Family Drug Support Aotearoa, New Zealand. Today I'm going to be talking to you about establishing and developing an organisation to support impacted family members in New Zealand. As an educational and counselling psychologist working in government services and private practice, I became aware many years ago about the scarcity of services available to family members impacted by the alcohol or other drug misuse of family members and close friends. And so began quite a journey from a vision just 5 years ago to the establishment of a nationwide organisation operating across New Zealand to provide accessible evidence-based support to all impacted family members who reach out. Originally, I attempted to set up support groups, but the geographical locality and spread of population in New Zealand made that assembling support groups a very difficult situation. And so very quickly I realised there were 7 essential non-negotiables, and I'll just share my PowerPoint with you now. So the first non-negotiable in developing the organisation I found was that the organisation had to be accessible to every person seeking support wherever they live in New Zealand. I also found that based on current and evolving evidence in the alcohol and other drug field, we had to be very mindful of what the evidence actually was around helping impacted family members. We had to be able to support robust evaluation for service improvement and development and funding. And we had to be culturally inclusive of Māori, Pacifica, and other ethnicities. Our program had to be delivered by skilled practitioners with well-developed counselling skills. And we had to be able to update ongoing alcohol and other drug training and supervision. And the program had to be available whether the focal person who was using substances and receiving either community help or residential treatment, or in fact hadn't even moved into recovery. We had to make sure that the impacted family members were still able to get support for themselves. So those were the non-negotiables that we started with. Assessing these requirements was the first step in choosing the best program possible. And so after an extensive search, we chose the 5-step method program. There were challenges in this. Firstly, I was in New Zealand and the only upcoming training was in Ireland. However, after 3 days of training in Ireland, a 27-hour flight from New Zealand, we came back to New Zealand to set up the 5-step program as part of Family Drug Support Aotearoa, New Zealand. Some of the really important things that we discovered very early on was that it was really important to have a careful selection of practitioners. We're very careful in the selection of who undertakes the 5-step method training. Accreditation immediately follows the training for a number of reasons. People who are just trained often go off and do what they think they heard, but actually enabling people to do the accreditation straight after means that as an organisation, we can see that they actually are producing and providing a valid 5-step program. We are very intentional about supervision during accreditation. And that is important for us so that we can give really good feedback to family members, to our accredited practitioners as they are doing their accreditation. We also find that continuing to make supervision accessible while working with family drug support is really important. And so we do webinars about new information and we provide accessible supervision very readily to our accredited practitioners. We have ongoing professional development for our accredited practitioners, and this is seen as very valuable by the accredited practitioners. We also provide an opportunity to take leave depending on circumstances, because most of our accredited practitioners are volunteers. And so sometimes circumstances come about where they need to take some leave for a range of reasons. It might be further study, but we always wish them to come back so that we can have them as accredited practitioners. As far as our programs, we are really careful about data collection. So our accredited practitioners know that they are part of our data collection process. They provide the 5-step pre-assessment program in step 1, the family member questionnaire, and a post-family member questionnaire in step 5. They also collect the demographic data throughout the program, and they provide an online survey for our impacted family members that they are working with. And we in the office at Family Drug Support provide a 3-step post-program online survey of the impact of the 5-step at 3 months after program completion. We also, of course, collect data from Google Analytics, from interest in our website and submission data, and we always collect data on the completion, non-completion, and on-hold data of those that start but don't finish the 5-step program. Currently, our 5-step program method, what we are finding is that 91% start and complete the 5 counselling sessions, that 29% are completing as couples, 70% are completing as individuals, and 81% don't complete the 5 sessions. We do follow up to see why this happens, and sometimes people come back on to complete after they have actually moved off the program. Some of the main challenges that we have found in setting up the 5-step program is, and also Family Drug Support, is raising funds to sustain ongoing costs, the ongoing training of enough accredited practitioners to match the increasing applications for support that we receive as we become more well-known in New Zealand. We also find accessing evidence-based resources that move past a disease model and provide real hope for impacted family members is something that we are working on all the time. And so what sort of evidence do we like to collect so that we can provide this to our accredited practitioners, who then provide it to our impacted family members? Well, the first thing is the sort of information that we really focus on is information that's evidence-based, such as the book called Biology of Desire, Why Addiction is Not a Disease by Mark Lewis. Anything on YouTube by Mark Lewis, we often recommend this to our impacted family members. Certainly our accredited practitioners are very up to date with the sort of information that would tell us why addiction is not a disease. We also have books such as a small library, and we recommend books such as Unbroken Brain, A Revolutionary New Way of Understanding Addiction by Mia Selvitz, and another very recent and exceptionally good book that our practitioners have seen and which we use information from is called Evaluating the Brain Disease Model of Addiction, edited by Nick Heather and others. 44 excellent articles around why alcohol and other drug misuse is not a brain disease. And so we highly recommend our accredited practitioners read that, so they've got the very latest information when they're providing the 5-step programs. And any other publications by Professor David Best from the University of Derby, now at Leeds University. David has excellent information on recovery and building recovery, and we use a lot of his information in our work through Family Drug Support. Our current services around the 5-step method psychoeducational counselling program are to provide more and more of these programs. basically all provided, but virtually all provided via telehealth to anybody in New Zealand, no matter where they live, in rural, town or city area. We have a website with many evidence-based resources for impacted family members. We also have a callback telephone system where if a family member actually contacts us on the telephone, we will call them back very quickly and listen to their story and help them find the resources they need, including the 5-step method. We have a weekly talking online group session where people can come on and find out information about where they can access support. And we do training of the accredited practitioners and support line volunteers within our organisation in New Zealand. We also are piloting currently a young person's 5-step program for impacted 16 to 24-year-olds based on the 5-step method, which we've used extensively with adults. And we're very excited that this pilot program is now underway at Family Drug Support Aotearoa, New Zealand. So what are the outcomes of the 5-step programs 3 months after delivery? Because that's really important to us, that we're providing programs that are really making a difference to people. We get 3 months after people have completed the 5-step program, we get a 71% response rate to our online survey. And one of the questions we ask is, to what extent do you consider you're able to cope with your situation now, since you completed the 5-step program 5 months ago? 82% currently report that they're more able or much more able to cope with their situation. We also ask, how would you rate your overall well-being since you completed the 5-step program? And 76% report that their overall well-being is better or much better since they completed the 5-step program. So we know the programs that we are setting up within Family Drug Support are working. We have a final interesting question that's not directly related to the outcomes from the 5-step, but which we were very interested in because we are working with the impacted family members rather than the focal person who has the alcohol or other drug misuse. So we ask, how would you rate your relative or loved one's problem behaviours since you completed the 5-step program 3 months ago? 41% of impacted family members say that the focal person's behaviour is better or much better since they completed the 5-step program 3 months previously. Now, we're not saying that there's a causality there, but it's a very interesting data statistic that we're getting back, that this is also making difference to the focal person. So from impact to action, establishing and developing an organisation to support impacted family members in New Zealand. I guess the question for me now, several years later, is, has providing evidence-based support to impacted family members been worth 5 years of volunteering for Family Drug Support? And my answer is yes. I count it as a great privilege to be part of a wonderful team, around 25 accredited practitioners and more in training, to be able to provide support to the many impacted family members in New Zealand who are reaching out for support in an area and in a journey that they didn't choose to be on. Thank you. And if you would like more information, do contact me at Family Drug Support. Thank you.